Did you know post-divorce kids' estrangement is widely prevalent and may continue for many years? A recent conversation with a dad was heartbreaking as he lamented the loss of relationship with his kids. Like many, the divorce wasn't amicable and the kids chose to side with the mom. My purpose today in this message is twofold. Advocate for the kids no matter the custody arrangements and to encourage the estranged parent to maintain hope. Divorce is difficult enough without blabbing to the kids about all the faults of one another. And yet, this estrangement is often encouraged by one parent and their family. If you're facing estranged relationships with your kids amid or post-divorce, listen in for encouragement and strategies to maintain a presence. Find the full transcript for this episode, plus resources for women at Estrangement, Turning Pain into Peace at beckykolb.com/16. You're listening to Estrangement, Turning Pain into Peace, a podcast and free resource for women with estranged relationships, created by me, host and coach Becky Kolb. My superpower is to help you turn your emotional pain into peace by conquering guilt and shame, rebuilding self-confidence, and developing healthy boundaries. I've dealt with estranged relationships most of my life and know both the pain and the peace. Subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss a thing. Now, let's dive into today's episode. I've known people that were mandated to hire an attorney for their kids in a divorce situation because the parents could not manage their emotions in the divorce in such a way as to act in their best interest. Look, I get that divorce is hard. Emotions are volatile. Accusations are made and fighting ensues. But please, if you don't hear anything else today, leave your kids out of that part of your divorce. If you think your emotions run high, think about those kids who don't share theirs with you. They love you both. Their life is upended, and uncertainty is on their mind. They just want a peaceful transition and to know their life will be okay. And when all they hear is hatred and negativity about the other parent, they spiral further down into depression. They tune out. It's not always the case anymore, but frequently the children have primary custody or living arrangements with their mother. If you are constantly berating their father, they begin to believe you and pull away from their dad. Even if they aren't sure the accusations are true, they don't want to disappoint or hurt you further, and so they avoid contact with him. That may work out for you temporarily, but kids grow up, and eventually they see what happened. They may choose to resent you for keeping them from a relationship with their father. And finally, if the primary custody parent is the father, then the same is true for you. Just retract mother, insert father, and the lesson is the same. Unless your partner abuses the kids or is engaged in activity that could harm them, they need both parents. As a mother or father, I plead with you to avoid using your kids as a sounding board. Avoid using them to bash the other, even if they did terrible things. As they grow up, they'll see the parent for what he or she is. And never forget that people do change. If you're a parent who has an alcohol or drug addiction, the divorce may be the catalyst that will lead you to get the professional help that you need. Avoid labeling the other parent. The kids see that. They know. You don't have to repeatedly tell them how horrible they are and what they've done to you. This is the time to truly step up and be the advocate they need. This includes both parents. You can divorce your spouse, but you can't divorce them from being their parent. You need to find a way to work in their best interest. Now, the other side, encouragement for the post-divorce kid's parent. You are the other parent, the one who is estranged from the kids. You want a relationship with them, but they won't respond to your texts or phone calls. You're sure that it's because the other parent is bashing you, and it makes you angry. So you want to lash out and let them know what is being said isn't true. You want to let them have a piece of your mind because you two are a parent, and how dare they ignore you? Oh boy, do I get it. You're accustomed to at least some of the discipline, and ignoring you is not something you would tolerate. but you've lost control and they're acting disrespectfully, and there's nothing you can do unless you exercise your authority in a text or phone call. And let me tell you, that will typically backfire. It's not fair. Divorce is not fair. The marriage is already troubled, and then lawyers get involved, and suddenly you're out. If the other parent is hurling accusations about you, it may also be coming from their extended family. You have no defense. The die is cast. The kids live with the other parent, and you exist outside their realm. Someone becomes the victim, the other is the enemy. That's not always the case, but I hear it so often. And so you're frustrated with the situation. You aren't sure what to do, and anything you try doesn't work. You're ready to give up all hope. My biggest tip for you today is don't lose hope. Why? Well, let me tell you. Even when it's difficult and you're getting no response or cooperation, even when they block you from their social media, and yes, even when they cast angry, hurtful words at you. I know you may think I'm crazy, but I've lived through a not so amicable divorce with custody issues. I've lived with estrangement from my kids because I was the divorcing parent, and all the blame was cast upon me. It was painful knowing that some of those accusations weren't true and that they were missing big chunks of the story. But trying to dispel those things while they're vulnerable and hurting just won't work. It just pushes them further away. And to top it off, if you aren't defending yourself, then the family may further blame you for not caring or being selfish. You're really in a tricky situation. So here's the hope. You love your kids, whether they know it or not. Communicate in short text messages, even if they ignore you. Keep your messages positive and focused on them. Avoid bashing the other parent. Exercise patience. That's so hard. They miss you too, and they are dealing with their own emotions. And then finally, use the distance to work on your personal growth. Become the changed mom or dad. No matter what is said about you, maintain the upper hand by remaining positive and non-responsible to critical jabs and accusations. Demonstrate your love and desire to reconnect when they're ready. You may be surprised. Now, what about those times when you lose hope? I'm not going to kid you. It's hard to stay hopeful at all times, especially when you do all the giving and get nothing in return. So expect those times when hope fades. Things like holidays, birthdays and anniversaries, special occasions like baptisms, where you're excluded. If you plan for those triggers, you'll be better prepared to hold the depression and hopelessness at bay. You can begin to make new traditions during the holidays. Focus on the new friends and family who support you. Celebrate the kid's birthday with a friend to honor their special day, and then text them to let them know you were thinking of them and celebrating their birth. Avoid placing any guilt on them because you aren't included. The goal is to let them know in a positive way that you thought about them, and that day was celebrated in their honor. Post-divorce, kids' estrangement can be turned into a positive, even if they don't realize it at the time. Are you ready to shift your mindset on post-divorce? To summarize, if you're a mid-divorce, advocate for the kids. Avoid blaming and bashing their mother or father. As much as possible, work in a united front on behalf of the kids. Take the high road, and you'll always come out better in the end. And if you are living in estrangement with your kids post-divorce, try some of the strategies offered to maintain a connection. Try to let go of the fact that you've lost control as a parent for now. Avoid using the heavy hand of discipline and let things play out. One final thought. You should never tolerate disrespect. When that occurs, simply let them know that you're always open to conversations, but you will never tolerate disrespectful behavior. All too often, a parent allows it because they're afraid of losing the relationship. That will never work well in the end, so stop it immediately. Thanks for listening today, and I hope you found some encouragement to keep you hopeful. Until next time, remember, you're doing the best you can. You're not perfect, and neither are they. Keep your head held high and remain hopeful. Time heals a lot of things. Thanks for listening to the podcast, Estrangement, Turn Pain into Peace. I know you have your own story filled with emotional pain, or know someone who does. Learn more about the successful strategies I use to help women turn that pain into lasting peace and joy. And if you know other women who struggle with estrangement, please share. Until next time, remember you're an amazing and beautiful woman.